Why I think this is the best camera for me in 2023? Let's answer this question. Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on my channel. On this channel I post lots of videos about camera tech reviews, vlogging kits, action cams, tutorials, tips and tricks about photography and videography. So if you are interested, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. That's a massive help for me, and hit a like under this video. That motivates me a lot. And now let's go back to the video. By the way, I'll put in the description below some affiliate links with some brands that I'm working with recently. Don't forget to check them out. You can have some great discounts there. As I said in the previous video, I got this XH2S from Fujifilm to replace my X-T4 that I really loved. It served me really well for the last 2 years. It was a workhorse for me. I really enjoyed working on that camera, but it was time to change to this one. Even if I have many cameras at home, I have Nikon, I have Sony, and I had the X-T4. I could have stick to only one brand to have all the lenses for one brand, but what can I do? I love camera gears, and there are no company now that make the camera that I want to have that can replace them all. That's why I have Nikon, Sony, and now this XH2S. I have the Sony ZV-E10 that I really love. I use it mainly for vlogging, to do some videos. It's a small, compact and lightweight camera, even if we can exchange lenses. I have on it all the time now the Samyang 12mm f2.0. It gives me a wide field of view, a shallow depth of field when we are close up to the camera. It's a lightweight setup, really nice to have. The autofocus works really well on it. I really love that camera. The main issue is that it does not have IBIS in camera, so when I put the active stabilization on the camera, it crops a lot into the image, and that's something frustrating, because I have the 12mm that comes to 18 or 20mm when I put the active stabilization on. I'm waiting for the next generation of this camera from Sony so I can replace it with something with IBIS in it. I have two Nikon Z6 II that I really love. I use them mainly for portrait photo shoots, for wedding, for client work, for event photography. I really love these cameras. I've been shooting with Nikon since 2012, more than 10 years now. I'm really happy with that ecosystem, even if we heard a lot about Nikon recently, but Nikon is something really nice to have. I really love it. I have lots of lenses from Nikon. I have lenses also from Yongnuo. They are making cheap, budget-friendly lenses with high-quality glass. I really appreciate that. So now I have the Nikon for photography. I used it a little bit for videography, but the main issue is that it does not have a flip-out screen. So for my YouTube videos, it doesn't work really well. I have to plug a monitor. And that's why I prefer something with a flip-out screen for my YouTube videos. I use the Nikon though for some videos, for some B-rolls, for some close-up shots with the macro lens. I'll talk about the macro in a future video. Don't forget to ring the bell. You will receive all the notifications about my future post. And I really love that Nikon for B-rolls when it's on a gimbal, so you don't have to flip out the screen. You can monitor everything directly. But when it comes to turn out the screen to monitor yourself, to record your videos such this one, I cannot do it. I have to plug a monitor. That's why I don't use the Nikon a lot for videography. My story with Fujifilm started back in 2020 during the COVID-19 pandemic. I bought the X-T200, the X-T30, the X-T3, and then the X-T4. I fell in love with the ecosystem of the Fuji. Small, compact, lightweight, very high quality images, very high quality footages, amazing 4K resolution. It was something nice to have in the backpack. It was lightweight. Cheap lenses because it's an APS-C sensor. Short lenses, not so big, not so heavy. That was something really nice to have. Very versatile for photography and videography. So I couldn't stay away from Fujifilm ecosystem. I really love that ecosystem. That's why I changed now the X-T4 to the XH2S in order to have the highest quality possible to deliver for my YouTube channel, for you guys, and for my client work. That's why I got this XH2S. So among all the cameras that I have, the Nikon Z6 II, the Sony ZV-E10 and the Fujifilm, I think that the XH2S will be my favorite camera for 2023, and I'll tell you why. First of all, I'm doing lots of YouTube videos recently and I'm enjoying it. I needed something to rely on in videography and that I can travel with easily without breaking my back with heavy lenses. And since I have lots of lenses from Fujifilm and from Viltrox X mount, so that was the main reason I got the XH2S and the Fujifilm ecosystem, because they are small, compact, lightweight, they don't take much place in my backpack, and they are not heavy. That's the main purpose of the Fujifilm APS-C cameras. The X-T4 was a great camera, but it had lots of flaws in videography. That's why the XT series is more dedicated to photographers rather than videographers, and the XH2S is a videography camera that has lots of capabilities in photography as well. The XH2S has a 26 megapixel stack sensor allowing for 40 frames per second in photography if needed. The processor in this camera allows for a better autofocus than the previous generation from Fujifilm and for little to no rolling shutter speed effect when panning the camera around. This is the flagship from Fujifilm. The XH2S is competing directly with the R3 from Canon, the A1 from Sony and the Z9 from Nikon. They all are full frame sensors. They are more than double the price than the Fujifilm XH2S. They are heavier, not compact at all. They have heavy lenses, big lenses, and much expensive lenses than the lenses that you can find for the Fujifilm. That's what makes the Fujifilm very usable in any condition, not as the Sony A1, the Z9 from Nikon, and the R3 from Canon. This camera can record in 4:2 10-bit recording videos in ProRes and in F-Log2. That's amazing. We have lots of room to work on post-prod. We have lots of dynamic range in this camera, even if it's an APS-C sensor. We have lots of room in post-prod for color grading, for image adjustment, and anything we want to do in our footages. That's amazing from Fujifilm XH2S. If we don't want to color grade, Fuji offers us lots of film simulation that we can use directly and apply them directly to our footages without the hassle of post-production and post-processing and color grading our footages. This camera can record in 4K 120 frames per second. That's something really amazing for your client works. You must have a 4K 120 frames per second now for cinematic shots. That's amazing. It crops a little bit into the image, but that's not a big deal. You can change your focal length and you can adjust it accordingly. That's really nice. But be aware, when recording in 120 frames per second, it does not record audio files. So that's one issue on this camera. It does not record audio files in 120 frames per second. You have to record it separately if you want. If you want to record audio with your footages, you have to go to 50 frames per second, which can give you the possibility to export in 25 frames per second and then getting a slow motion of 2 times. That's something also nice to have. You can get smooth footages with that option as well. That's something you have to be aware of when buying this camera. And speaking of audio, the XH2S has a much better preamp comparing to the X-T4. On the X-T4 we had lots of problems on the audio recorded via external microphones to the preamp of the camera itself. It clips a lot, it has lots of noise, lots of weird noise going around. Even if we use a high-end microphone, the problems were always there. Maybe they can be minimalized, but they cannot disappear completely. On the XH2S, we have a better preamp. That's something amazing if you want to record our YouTube videos and record directly our audio files on the camera and sync it directly with our footages. That's something amazing on this camera. This camera has an improved IBIS in-body image stabilization. It has 5-axis sensor shift image stabilization. Comparing to the previous generation, maybe the numbers are the same with the X-T4, but my experience with the XH2S is much better than the one that I had with the X-T4 handheld. You can slow down your footages at 120 frames per second. You can add the electronic stabilization with the optical stabilization and the sensor shift stabilization, so you can add all the stabilization possible on such a small body, so you don't need a gimbal when you are filming some footages with this camera. It has a full HDMI port for more versatility when you connect monitors to your camera. That's amazing. It has a dedicated headphone jack, so you can monitor your audio directly from the camera and listening to the preamp of the camera rather than connecting your headphone to the wireless microphone that you are using, and you don't have the preamp of the camera on the microphone, so you don't have a great audio listening, a great audio experience for what's going on in the camera, what's recorded in the camera. So that's a good point for Fujifilm in this XH2S. This camera does not have the vintage look such as the X-T3, X-T4, X-T5. It does not have the exposure compensation dial, the ISO dial, and the shutter speed dial on top of the camera. Instead, we have a PSAM dial, which has also 7 customizable modes that I customized them for videography. I will show you my customization for this camera in a future video. So if you are interested, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell so you will receive all the notifications about my future posts. That's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. These were the reasons why this XH2S will be my favorite camera for 2023. I hope you liked it. Don't forget to put like under this video. That's a big motivation for me. Check the affiliate links in the description below, and I see you in another video. Have a nice day. Ciao.